वहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते। सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति दुःकृन्करणे। मूढजहि धनागमतृष्णां गुरु सद्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णा। यल्लभसे निजकर्मोपातं वित्तं तेन विनोदय चित्तम्। नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागामोहावेशम्। एतन्मांसवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम्। नलिनीदलगतजलमतितरलं तद्वज्जीवितमतिशयचपलम्। विद्धि व्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तम्। यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निज परिवारो रक्तः। पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे। यावत् पवनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे। गतवति वायौ देहापाये भार्या बिभ्यति तस्मिन् काये। बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः। वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः। काते कान्ता कस्ते पुत्रः संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्रः। कस्य त्वं कः कुतायातः तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदिह भ्रातः। सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वम्। निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः। वयसि गते कः कामविकारः शुष्के नीरे कः कासारः। क्षीणे वित्ते कः परिवारो ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसारः।
Seeing the bosom and navel of a woman, do not fall a prey to frenzied delusion. It is a mortification of flesh, fat, etc. Reflect well in your mind over and over again. So we said that this verse gives the mantra for objectivity. It is the whole purport of the verse is that you should not get your mind involved to such an extent that it loses itself in frenzied delusion. So by Pratipaksha Bhavana, by intellectual re-evaluation, when you are seated in yourself, then you understand each and everything from a total perspective. This is called as objectivity. Objectivity, we can use the Sanskrit term Sakshibhavana, which is a more powerful term, is the status of a disinterested witness. Witness is an English term which we can use obviously, but Sakshi has a more power or punch when we use the word term Sakshi. Witness is not, as we understand, to be something which is non-participative also. So witness is definitely non-participative in its true sense of the meaning. But we should understand it as a disinterested witness which has a role in the overall functioning or performance. That is the difference between witness and a Sakshi. See, just to give an example. Let's say you stand in your terrace in the morning, and early in the morning after sunrise there is a marriage procession that's going on. Everybody is happy, they are dancing, they are celebrating that moment. You have nothing to do with it, you are just watching it as a witness. The persons who are there, they are involved in it and they are very happy about it. After a while, on the other side, same sunrise they are waiting for, and a funeral procession goes where people are crying and they are afflicted by sorrow. Again, you are not touched by it because you have nothing to do with it. You are just watching from the terrace as a witness, as a third party. You have no connection to it. So you can say you are a witness. The sun above is also witness to both. This is the example you have to take. The sun above is also witness to both. But what is the difference between the sun watching these two and you watching these two?
It is in the sun's presence that these things are happening. The light is there. But I am just watching. I have nothing to do.
Right. The sun is also responsible for both these things, in the sense they are waiting for sunrise to take the procession. So without sun it is not happening. Yet sun does not get involved in the joy of the marriage procession or the sorrow of the funeral procession, but it just enlivens both and it is a witness of both. You are not an enlivening factor, or you are not any way connected to it at all. So you are absolutely a third party which is not connected. So we are talking about Sakshi with reference to the sun above. Like that is the real witness. To take, let's say, a practical example, how it can be converted. Otherwise, we take this word Sakshibhavana or objectivity and completely be aloof from the world without any emotion, without any participation. That is not what is recommended. You have to go through that stage and then go to a very highly sattvic stage where you are extremely aware of it. You are in the seat of the self which is responsible for everything, yet you do not allow anything to touch you. That is a real Sakshibhavana. That is why we say being a witness is both a practice and a state. So it is possible. It is possible for us to practice. It is tough, but we have to practice it. Let us say a person goes as a tourist to somewhere near where our academy is, near Karla or Malavali. There's Karla, that's famous for its caves. In the Buddhist time, there are a lot of caves, Karla caves and Bhaja caves. These are very famous tourist spots. And you have to pass through our academy's road if you have to go from Karla to Malavali. When a person passes through that and he sees this is a nice institution, nice buildings and nice organization, something he views and he passes that way. He is not part of the academy, he is just a witness to whatever is happening from outside. And suddenly, let's say, there's a big earthquake, and on the way back, he again views, he says, so it's very sad that all the buildings have fallen. That's all he can say, and he is just again a witness to it. But if you take the position of Swamiji, why I am saying it is, it will prove the point easily, that each and every brick and each and every grass, plus each and every student who are all there because it is under his supervision, everything has come up and he is running the whole show as it were. Without him, nothing else will happen. That is the status of the academy. And yet, let's say whether an earthquake happens or somebody praises and somebody comes and gives a medal to the academy, he just views it as a witness. A extreme devastation or a extreme construction of a new building, he just sees it as one more aspect of it growing or coming down or whatever it is, though he is part and parcel of it. That is the status of a Sakshi. So you must be, let us say, as a Grahastha in the household activities, as a businessman in your office activity, or as an employee in your office, you are doing all the duties, whatever is required, yet you maintain this detached witness state if you are able to. That is the ultimate state of what he talks about as objectivity. This word objectivity is derived from two terms, or it's derived from the word object. So we have these two terms, subject and the object. In every experience, there is a participation of two, subject and the object. Subject is the individual, you. Object is what you experience. You eat apple means apple is the object, right? Then the eating experience is born when subject meets the object. Now in any experience, when the subject gets attached and involved in the object, that is when you lose objectivity. The subject mingles with the object. That is called as involvement. Involvement is the opposite of objectivity. A person may get involved in relationships. A person can get involved in work. A person can get involved in anything for that matter. See, the basic criterion for this involvement is that your ego, your individuality, hold itself and mingles itself into whatever it gets involved, so that you are not able to take that identity away from it. That is called as involvement. So in Sanskrit we use the terms kartrutva bhavana and bhoktrutva bhavana. Bhoktrutva bhavana means I am the enjoyer attitude. Kartrutva bhavana means I am the doer attitude. When you maintain these things, you get involved in the action, you get involved in the enjoyment. The constant thought that I am there, it is there. That is why in the involvement, directly whatever happens to the object directly affects you. It is affecting you because your ego is involved there. So if there is a success, you will jump with success. If it is a failure, you will sink in sorrow. And if there is something that is, somebody is abusing or something, you react very badly. All this is because you are getting completely involved in it. When a mother is involved with bringing up her child, which is her duty, but she gets irritated when let's say she is teaching child something, but she is irritated. Why you are not able to understand even this? She is not able to have that basic emotion of love with which it started, but she gets involved in it. So we get involved in relationships like that. We get involved in our own actions. We get involved in each and every aspect of our life because the mind has a tendency to get attached to whichever experience it is going through. It is with intellectual strength that can you pull the mind and say that I am apart from it. When we say I am apart from it, we are actually saying that I am not this body, mind, intellect. That is the essential message there. So you maintain your subject, which is the real subject as it is, and you are able to see your body, mind, intellect functioning in the world as a detached witness. This is called as a practice of objectivity. We need objectivity, Swamiji says, even for very small normal pleasures of life. It's very interesting. See, when a person likes chocolate, let's say, and you are desperate for having that chocolate and the chocolate comes and you know there is a joy in it and you open the wrapper, put it in the mouth, crush the chocolate, within half a minute it's all over. Probably that's not the way to eat a chocolate. You cannot deny that you did not have an enjoyment, but it's all gone and momentary pleasure, it's just gone. How do we eat a chocolate? You need to probably keep it in the side of the mouth and allow that juice in it to slowly populate into your system. That requires objectivity. See, it is not easy because we tend to get involved in that act of eating it. In that process, what we are actually doing is, I am the enjoyer. That attitude we are not living. So there also you just stay It is just stepping 2-3 steps back and maintaining a elbow room. That's all it is. Practicing is not a very high tattva that we are talking about here. That you need to maintain that space and that time. Even the moment anybody says something, immediately there is a reaction, immediately there is a response. Just wait for 1 minute. That's all. Everything is solved there actually. In 1 minute or 2 minutes, everything is brought to normalcy. There will not be that heating of temper, and that will culminate in some extreme involvement, and it'll may go up to any extent. All that we need to do is wait in time and space for just a few minutes or a few distance. That's all is objective about. So therefore, we need to apply objectivity in each and every experience of life, or rather when you gain the intellectual strength and practice objectivity, it will reflect in every experience. Even in a movie, the movie is enjoyed by you as an objective person only when you are apart from the movie. What is the success of a director? Who is a successful director?
Makes you cry.
He makes you correct. He makes you involved in the movie. Remember this, any author of a book, any director of a movie, he is successful the moment he is able to draw you into the movie. And director is somebody behind the scene. He is not there. That is why we all go through this in our times. In 80s, 90s, there's a great director called Mani Ratnam, and he produced or directed many movies. No doubt he has a great talent, that's different. And we tend to appreciate his movies, his camera work, or whatever his dialogue delivery that he makes through the characters there. But then after we understood it, after we understood Vedantic knowledge, that what is the success of a person, that once you can watch a movie and you say, mostly you will relate the movie to a hero or heroine or the story that is there. Okay. You can say it's a Rajinikanth movie. You can say it's a Kamal Haasan movie. Or you can say Amitabh Bachchan movie. These things you can say. But the moment you say it's a Mani Ratnam movie, what it means is that you are seeing Mani Ratnam on the screen. You are seeing that in and through the movie, he must not remind you that he is the director. That is not a great director. I am talking from a very perfection point of view. There are very many other great movies and great artists, both in East and West. And I am not anyway demeaning here Mani Ratnam. But point I am trying to make is, when you are reading through a novel, where you are able to forget the author and get into the character that is there, you are going through the experiences, vicarious enjoyments and sadness that the characters go through. That is the success of the director. Okay, that he is able to draw into it. So when we also see, when we identify with the character there, we also cry or we also laugh, or what is the vicarious enjoyment of a romantic scene or something? The person imagines himself to be the hero or the heroine. That is what is the enjoyment there. But why are you not ultimately affected? If you are not affected, is that you understand at the back of the mind that you are apart from it and view it as just a movie. It requires a lot of objectivity. Few years back we saw this Earthlings documentary. It is not easy to see it. Anybody who can even see it once has real guts. The way animals are treated and how they are put through extreme torture. Not even for 5 minutes some people can see it. So 1 hour or more than that is the documentary. In each and every possible form, the animals are taken and tortured and exploited mercilessly. You can even eat non-vegetarian, but you need not be cruel to animal. So Swamiji says you need to watch it and become aware of it, and yet you should watch it as it is. That is objectivity. But it is extremely difficult. It is extremely difficult because it touches a raw nerve in you. Okay. Now these are all external things, and we need to practice objectivity from a very outside perspective. See, we get involved in unconnected things. So suppose there is an Australia-West Indies match also, we may get involved there. At least India match, you can say there is one person little more there. You have Indian and you are connected to India, you can say. Australia and West Indies, but you already have a passion for West Indies and you support, and it invariably loses, and then you are very deeply affected by it. Why don't you just watch a cricket match as just a cricket match? It does not happen. Next day, let's say if I am affected, I am not able to concentrate in work. So much of involvement with which I have seen that. It could be a TV serial. It could be a movie. It could be a cricket match which is absolutely not connected to us at all. That is where we need to start our objectivity. And it is very clear that we do get objective with reference to others' behavior, and that we start with even animals. In animals, we are very clear. You know how to relate to each animal. You have in fact liking for every animal, but you will not go near a cobra. You will go near a rabbit. But you don't have any, you have equal admiration for cobra and rabbit, for a tiger and a cow. But you know how to relate to cow, you know how to relate to tiger. That is objectivity. You don't expect tiger to behave according to your mental pattern. And when the people who shoot these wild animals or in the ocean, the animals, they are saying they do get little moved when an innocent creature is being consumed by a predator. The seals have to invariably cross from a small island into the main South Africa shore, and that area of that ocean near Cape Town is infested with sharks, and they are waiting. They know that at this point of year the seals will cross, and the seals are thousands in number, and they have to go very fast, but the sharks are waiting and they are going to catch it. So he says, as a cameraman, we can have only sympathy for the seal and admiration for the shark, because in 1 second it has to catch, it has to jump at the right time and it has to catch it, and that is the food. That is the food. So you understand, that's how the nature is designed. So you are objective with reference to, and perfectly with synchronization with the nature. The tiger doesn't overeat or overkill. When it has had its food, it will just be there. So we are at peace with the nature, we are at peace with animals and their behavior, whatever be, and we know how to relate to them also. But when it comes to humans, we are not able to bring in that same objectivity. We see all that. With this knowledge, we have to understand that there can be various forms of probably animals moving in human forms. There can be tiger also in a human form, there can be a cobra or a zebra also in a human form. No, but since everybody is looking alike with 2 ears and 2 eyes and nose and all the features being the same, we attribute all will behave the same way, which is not the case. Animals have a collective behavior. All the zebras function in the same way. All the cows function in the same way. But amongst human beings, there is a vast variety, because we are at different stages of evolution even in the human beings, right? Like that it is. So therefore, you need to assess people with your intellect and relate to them accordingly. That is the method. Is it that should you not try to improve the situation? You should. Wherever there is a possibility, wherever there is a chance, you must improve the situation. But at any point of time, you have to accept the person as he is, not what you would like him to be. Only when you bring in that peace of mind can you even try to attempt to change the situation. If that is not there, you get involved and he gets involved more, it will create a more mess in the relationship. And this we start from a very external factor. It could be your the clients you deal with, the customers you deal with, your suppliers in the office, who are all very, very distantly related to you. Then comes the bigger circle of your community people, or who you relate with once in a while. Then you come into your own relative circle, maybe your cousins and other thing. Then it becomes tougher and tougher. Your own wife, your own husband, your own children, because there the my factor is very strong. So the involvement is very strong. When your own child is not behaving as per what you believe is right, then we tend to lose ourselves very badly there. After all this comes your own thoughts. That is very tough. It is how to view our own thoughts objectively. It's very tough. Why do we get involved? The involvement is only because we see something very, very close. See, suppose if I see the book like this, it will not be clear. Anything will not be clear. If I am able to maintain a distance like this, then it is clear. Exactly like that. You have to distance yourself from the relationships or your own thoughts and emotions to see with clarity what it is. Then you will know exactly how to relate to it. In the practical way, Swamiji says, we talked about this time and space. That is what it is. With reference to time and space, you can bring in objectivity if you are able to practice what he calls as a horizontal view of life and a vertical view of life. Because this involvement is with reference to closeness of time and space only. See, suppose something is happening in Venezuela and you are very charged and involved here. But you understand some flood has affected India, you will forget Venezuela. It will be in India. Your thoughts will be in India because it's closer to you. If something is happening in Kerala now, there's a lot of floods, but something is happening in Bengal, immediately all your attention will be here because it is very close to you. If something is happening near your house in Calcutta, you will forget all those things. This problem is very much for you. If something is happening in your house, all other Venezuela problem or Kerala floods, everything goes out of your system because you get involved in this. So as the time and space shrinks, your involvement in that experience becomes more and more. This is the law. Therefore, with intellect strength, with objectivity, what we need to do is, even temporarily, try to view everything from a distance with reference to time, with reference to space. With reference to time, see, suppose if a person is too much body conscious and is having a fever and he gets so totally involved with it and he makes a big issue out of it and he expects everybody in the family to cater to him. Beyond a point, they also get irritated. For a small fever, why is he making such a fuss? And this is because of his too much attachment or involvement with the body thing. So when you get the fever, think in terms of whatever life you have lived, 40, 50 years. And on an average, you got, 4 or 5 days of hardships through fever or something in a year. In 50 years, you have not even had fever, let's say, for, if you take the total thing, about not even 100 days. 100 days in 50 years. It's nothing actually. So what is this one day that you are going through? It is nothing. It is actually practically nothing. But when you view it only this one day alone, it is very big. You go, see, go back to your own school days, probably there was a very, a maths teacher or somebody who was very terrible in her dealing with the students, and one day you did not take the homework notebook or something, and that day you realized after going to school that you did not take that homework, and you thought that was the end of your life that day. We thought that, and it was so much of tension and stress and everything. Not now, maybe even the end of the year or end of 10 years, if you had looked back at that event, you yourself will laugh at it. My God, such a big issue that I made out of it. But at that point of time, it was a life and death problem. Like that it was. So if you are able to view the totality today, automatically your present problem goes into insignificance. What is objectivity? It is always making it go into insignificance. That's all. Then that's nothing about it. You just shrug your shoulders and say nothing. So in terms of time, you have a horizontal view, vertical view of your own life, and you see that this one incident is nothing when you compare to your own lifetime. We are not talking about across janmas. In your this lifetime, it's nothing. And horizontal view is the same person who has got a fever and it's just a mild fever. How many people are suffering from that type of a mild fever all over Calcutta today? About, let's say, it's a population of 1.2 crores. Even in conservative estimate, you put 0.01%, which is 1.2 lakhs, 1,200 people. Take like that. Okay, take whatever, even 2,000 people put together all the disease. You are 1 in 2,000 as far as the Calcutta is concerned. I'm taking a very, very low estimate. It will be more than that, and some people are having much more problem than you. You are talking about a normal fever, that's about all. And how many, when compared to the whole of India, you are one in thousands or millions. And when you compare to the whole world, your fever goes into insignificance automatically, immediately. But when the problem comes to me, I am not able to see anything beyond me. That is the issue. So it is just a thought, nothing else. And we are not saying that if it is serious, don't take tablet, all those things we are not saying. You take care of it in a normal way. But understand that your individuality goes into insignificance the moment you view it against totality. And that totality is either time-wise or other space-wise, in whichever way you look at it, you are able to gain that objectivity. This is objectivity. To view yourself in totality so that the individuality goes into insignificance. The permanent way of gaining objectivity is to gain knowledge only. We distance ourselves from the fruit of action. We distance ourselves later from the desire. And as I said, that ego and the kartrutva bhavana with which we do the action, if you are able to distance from this and you are able to forget yourself and be there, that is perfect objectivity. The poem which is directly relevant to the portion of Bhaja Govindam that we are doing here is talking about this objectivity only. Even this shall pass away. It's a translation of a Persian poem by Theodore Tilton in English, but we don't know the original. Obviously, in anything original will be supreme, but this is also very good. It's capturing the spirit of it wonderfully, and this mantra, even this shall pass away, we must never forget. Whatever in life that comes, it has to pass away. Chapter 2, verse 14 of Bhagavad Gita says, Agama payino anityaha tam titikshasva bharata. Agama payino anityaha. They will come, they will go, they are impermanent. Tam titikshasva bharata. Just put up with it. Just bear it. And later you will bear it with smile. That is the thing. Titiksha is also a higher meaning to it is you go through the difficulties with a smile. So what is the first phase of objectivity? That you get involved in it and react and you get totally absorbed in it, involved in it. That is the first stage. Second stage is with the growth of intellect, which is the main phase, that you slowly practice objectivity. When it comes, it is provoking, but yet you are able to maintain the calm, you are recalling, and this is practicing. Third stage is you are seeing the beauty in it. So if a person shouts at you, if you are able to inwardly admire that person for his shouting nature, that is the height of objectivity. Sometime we have to reach that stage. Swamiji says, I ask my wife a coffee and she says, you get your own coffee, because she's an irritable lady. Then, wow, what a beauty. Hey, don't tell her on the face. Don't tell her on the face, but you inwardly, you are able to enjoy it. That is real objectivity. Yes, time will come. Now you may put up with the heat of summer, but then we must go to a level where you enjoy the heat of summer. Enjoy the heat means that is the beauty of summer. The beauty of monsoon is its rains. The beauty of winter is its cold. So you are able to accept things as they are and I have nothing to do with it. This type of a stage is a absolute Sakshibhavana. You shrug your shoulders and say, what of that? So what? Tata kim? I think Kalidasa says in poetry, I am the king, I am all these things. You list out everything. Finally he says, Tata kim, Tata kim, Tata kim. Tata kim means what of that? What of that? Ultimately it is the self that counts, he says. So stand in the substratum of the self within. Everything else becomes actually like a tamasha. We need not specially entertain ourselves by going to a movie or watching a TV serial. You open your house, you open your eyes, everything that's happening around you is a TV serial only. It is just that we get involved because it involves my family or something like that. But haven't you seen sometimes very vehemently people in the street may fight over a bucket of water or something. It's very easy to see that in Madras because there's a water scarcity there. But when you watch from your house, the way they shout and this thing, it will be little amusing. And we should not, it's a water, actually it's a lifeline. We are not making fun of it. But the way in which they talk and they do gestures, it's a real tamasha. But when water problem comes to your house, will you be able to see it in the same way? That is the question. So when it comes to our own thing, our mind gets involved. So there, if you are able to say, even this shall pass away, because the sukha comes not to, it is not going to stay, it will also pass away. The dukkha comes, that is also not going to stay. But we get involved in that dukkha more, and we only retain it for a little longer time. Otherwise, it's going to go away. What is the dukkha is not what it is presenting itself. It is your mind that is carrying the weight. See, if this glass of water is held like this, it is not very heavy. If it is held like this, I hold it like this for a minute. It's possible. If I hold it for 5 minutes without moving the position, like this, if I hold it for 5 minutes, what happens? It pains the hand. What if I am forced to hold it for 1 hour? I cannot. It will pain much more. There will be cramps, whatever will happen in the hand. But in and through all these things, has the weight of the glass increased? The weight of the glass has not increased. What has increased?
My own.
The time has increased. That holding time has increased. It is exactly like that. Some pain. It was no doubt at that point of time a pain. But it just passed away. But we are holding that pain in the heart for days together or weeks together. The fault lies with us. It is the quantum of the pain has not increased. It is your holding time that has increased. So you have to just make it pass away. Even this shall pass away. Agama payino anityaha. A beautiful verse in Gita. Same thing here he says, even this shall pass away. It is talking about a king of Persia. Why he has probably, like in Ramayana, the avatar of Vishnu is in such a way that he is the king. He has all the enjoyments and everything at his beck and call. And he has not just a duty to his family alone, he has a duty to the whole country. In and through all these things, he went through extreme trouble. And then, in and through all those things, he maintained the dharma. That is why he shows it as a thing. So therefore, here also he takes the king, because all the experiences that he goes through are in extreme. The joy of a king is extreme. The battlefield pain is extreme. But in and through all these things, he is going to maintain the same objectivity. Once in Persia reigned a king who, upon his signet ring, graved a maxim true and wise, which, if held before his eyes, gave him counsel at a glance, fit for every change and chance. Solemn words, and these are they, even this shall pass away. So he had a ring in this finger, this Persian king. In that he had written a mantra, even this shall pass away. So whatever be the situation, whatever be the problem, whatever be the circumstance, if he needed any advice, he needed any counsel, all that he did was, he saw that ring. And it was fit for every change and chance, he says. In each and every circumstance, it was quite useful for him. Solemn words. And what are the words? Even this shall pass away. This is a chorus that comes in every stanza. First, he is talking about wealth. We talked here, right? The same thing. Bhaja Govindam is talking about acquisition and enjoyment. Acquisition. Trains of camel through the sand brought him gems from Samarkand. Fleets of galleys through the seas brought him pearls to rival these, but he counted not his gain. Wealth, the treasures of the mine or main. What is wealth? The king would say, even this shall pass away. So, many camels brought gems to him from Samarkand. It's near Afghanistan. And many fleets of ships carried pearls from the ocean to him. So that means there was no dearth of wealth for him, and he was not abhorring wealth also. He was not hating wealth. But he counted little gain, but he counted not his gain. He was not daily seeing today how much came, and he was not counting like that. Treasures of the mine or main. Treasures of the mine means from the land, from the mine, gems came, from the ocean, the pearls came. From whatever, let it come from here or let it come from there, he did not count it. What is wealth? The king would say, even this shall pass away. But what is wealth? What does wealth But wealth is impermanent. What does wealth buy?
Temporary comfort.
Material.
Temporary comforts, right? That comforts pertain to
Physical.
body, correct. Your sense objects. So wealth is a commodity that can be exchanged for sense objects. That's all. Wealth cannot even buy emotions. Wealth cannot buy knowledge. Wealth can buy a book. Wealth can get you a seat in a college, maybe. Sometimes poverty can get you a seat in a college. If your caste or your reservation, something can get you a seat in the college. But that need not necessarily give you knowledge. You have to give your thought, spend your thought to gain knowledge. You have to give emotions to get emotions. You can give money, but does not automatically buy the loyalty of the servants. With what emotions you give, that matters. Wealth can buy only those material comforts. So that it is to that extent only we view it. It has a role in life, but that is a limited role. Ultimately, beyond all these things, happiness is not related anyway to wealth. That is the most common misconception. People think they will be happy by gaining more and more wealth. Wealth and happiness are not directly related at all. As I said, even emotions, knowledge, they are of a different kind. They are not related to wealth. So what is wealth? The king would say, even this shall pass away. Then he is talking about normal enjoyments. Mid the revels of his court, at the zenith of his sport, when the palms of all his guests burned with clapping at his jest, he amid his figs and wine cried, "O loving friends of mine, pleasure comes but not to stay, even this shall pass away." So he was not a sannyasi in the Himalayas. He was a very, very active person in the court. He was enjoying poetry, maybe he was cracking jokes, and there was entertaining sessions, and all his jests and everything was appreciated by the courtiers, and he was reveling there, and he was truly enjoying. That means if he was in Eden Gardens, he would enjoy the match. He will not go and talk Vedanta there. Matches to be enjoyed. Like that he was. And everybody was clapping, so it was a very enjoyable moment. He was seated amidst figs and wine, which are nice things to have during parties there in Persia. In and through this, he is saying, "O loving friends of mine, pleasure comes but not to stay. Even this shall pass away." We are only desperate to hold on to that pleasure. In that process, we are not being in the present to enjoy whatever is there also left. Because pleasure and pain are dvandvas, are part and parcel of life, which has to come and go like this. You have to take the position of a saluting officer in the march past and allow them to pass. So pleasure comes but not to stay. Even this shall pass away. Then the next is what is the highest form of sensual pleasure, which is what is exactly relevant to what we are studying now. Nari stanavara nabi desham drishtva maga moha vesham yetan mansava sadivikaram manasi vichintaya varam varam. Exactly the same words. Wow. That's why great minds think alike, Lady fairest ever seen was the bride he crowned as queen. Pillowed on his marriage bed, softly to his soul he said, though no bridegroom ever pressed fairer bosom to his breast, mortal flesh must come to clay, even this shall pass away. Wow, what a statement. Same thing is Etan Mansava Sadivikaram. All this is modification of flesh and fat, says Bhaja Govindam. He says, mortal flesh must come to clay. It is a modification of clay in some other form. That's all it is. It has to finally come back to that. Even this shall pass away. And when he is saying that, pillowed on the marriage bed, he is not saying after very many years of enjoyment where he is not capable of enjoying, and he says this is nothing. And very importantly, whispering to his soul, he said, don't say it aloud. He is saying to him, this is an internal understanding. That's all it means. Pillowed on his marriage bed, softly to his soul he said, though no bridegroom ever pressed a fairer bosom to his breast, mortal flesh must come to clay, even this shall pass away. Fighting on a furious field, Once a javelin pierced his shield. Soldiers with a loud lament bore him bleeding to his tent. Groaning from his tortured side, pain is hard to bear, he cried. But with patience day by day, even this shall pass away. Next experience is pain. And it's not a normal pain, he is fighting on the field. That is why, though this knowledge of Vedanta is applicable to all, in the good old days, they made sure Raja Rishis had this knowledge for sure. Raja Rishis are royal sages. There are stories in the Upanishads where even Brahmins go to them to learn knowledge. So that means every king in a right form, they had this knowledge. As I said, the pairs of opposites like profit and loss will affect a businessman. The pairs of opposites affect everyone. Heat and cold affects us. But the extremity with which it affects these kings, probably that extremity, it does not affect others. One day he is in the palace with all his luxuries. Next day he is in the battlefield where nobody is there to even assist him. It is said in our scriptures that if a person is wounded in the battlefield, he is not brought and given treatment, he is left there to die a heroic death. That is the yajna that they considered even fighting a battlefield. So this body which is in extreme comfort one day, it is going through extreme pain in the other day. This extreme oscillation, how do we maintain the equanimity? That is why even soldiers of today, when they are in extreme temperatures like Kargil, where they don't have even an animal for company, in that height. Sometimes we hear the story that the soldier lost his school, he shot himself or he shot others in desperation. It is very important that this knowledge definitely goes to them. And a training is given. It is not an easy life to be an army soldier. That's why for them the pride of serving in the army is much more than what salary or anything that they get. And it molds them in a different thing altogether. But at some point of time, if they lose it, it is a very terrible condition. So this king has got that knowledge, and a javelin pierced his shield and attacked his body. Groaning from his tortured side, he said, pain is hard to bear. No doubt at that point of time it is hard to bear, he cried. But with patience day by day, even this shall pass away. You have to just wait. As he said, when a pain comes, it is not going to stick to you forever. It is going to just give it its time, it will go away. At that point of time, there's probably a time where you have the chance to practice that I am not this body. Maharishis like Ramana Maharishi, Paramahamsa, all of them came to that stage where they were able to see the body extremely separate. We are not at that stage. We are still caught up in the attachment to body. But when a pain comes, at least use that opportunity to distance yourself and see. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad gives a formula for this. Again, it should be carefully understood. When extreme medical treatment or anything is required, that you have to do. But it says, when a mild headache comes or mild fever comes, immediately don't rush into consume the medicine and try to immediately get over it. See, because you have got into that position by certain indiscipline, right? It is not that headache will come suddenly like that. Health is your original condition. You may be watching TV throughout the night and it causes a headache, or some computer games you are playing, something like that. You have created it. And the body has a self-correcting mechanism. That's how the nature has created us. So just wait for a moment, it will go away. It will go away. And so what is the heat of that temperature? Because the scriptures are asking us to do tapas, we are not doing tapas. Tapa in Sanskrit means heating. Okay. We see that Parvati did tapas in extreme cold for Shiva in Himalayas with ice all around. She was standing in barefoot and doing tapas, we say. Or there is a tapas called Panchagni tapas. You create fire on 4 sides, you stand in the center and sun above. 5 fires are there, and you know how extreme difficult. Why these extreme conditions are given us? In the extreme comfort of everything, our thought really does not go easily to the higher. In order to train this, we need to put through certain difficulties. That is why in the Shabarimala Ayyappa temple, before you go 40 days, you have to take bath in cold water, and that is during winter season. You have to walk barefoot You should not shave and other things, not apply oil. All these things, it is there. In Ramayana, when Rama goes to the forest, this is what he is doing. He should not apply oil to the hair, and he has to wear the dress that is prescribed. So all this is this is tapas for us to direct our thoughts flow to the higher. That is the purpose. It is not just hanging upside down for the sake of it. So since we are not doing it, nature is helping us by giving this fever for one day. So you don't try to overcome that also immediately by he says go through it. It will just go away. But with patience day by day, even this shall pass away. Then finally, not finally, one thing before that is fame. Towering in the public square, 20 cubits in the air, rose a statue carved in stone. Then the king, disguised, unknown, stood before his sculptured name, musing meekly, what is fame? Fame is but a slow decay, even this shall pass away. Towering in the public square, 20 cubits in the air, his statue. 20 cubits, we do not know what the measurement is. Let's say a tall statue. 20 cubits in the air. What does it mean? I'm not talking about measurement.
It's in the air.
The fame is nothing but it's in the air. It's in the air. That means it's not substantial. Shakespeare says, reputation. Reputation is an idle and most false imposition. Oft got without merit and lost without deserving. How is a reputation gained? He says it's by idle talk. Idle talk. You saw that movie? Very nice, very nice. Then a time will come that before, if you don't see the movie, something is wrong with you. So everybody goes. It could be a very ordinary movie. That's about all. Or you had that restaurant. Oh, excellent. Dosa is excellent. Something like that they will say. And suddenly that overnight it gets a reputation. He says it's a idle and false, most false imposition. Sometimes that is why you must be very careful in seeing the newspapers when they give even news items. There is no such thing as unpaid news. We be clear about it. Certain things are very clear as advertisements. Certain things are paid news. Particularly Times of India and all. They will promote, Samsung's latest model, this, that. I'm just taking Samsung. And it is just that Samsung is promoting. Or sometimes you will see a nice tweet or something in the Twitter, Facebook. All this is, it's a paid thing. And they promote it like that. So sometimes false imposition. Oft got without merit. They don't deserve it and they are extremely famous. And then he says, suddenly you lose it when you don't deserve to lose. Lost without deserving. So this restaurant is very famous now, and suddenly one person, I saw a cockroach there, something he says. And overnight it spreads and there is a newspaper report and everything. The business is finished. So why he has given probably fame at the end is, people fall for fame and that intoxication is very, very hard to resist. Even more than the intoxication of sexual pleasures, it is said this gets to our head even at a very powerful level. And all this is very nice as long as we are in this side, we want fame. One day I must get my photograph in paper. One day one interview must come in TV. We long for it. But those who are already famous, they are running away from the TV cam. They want some peace for themselves away from all these things. Azharuddin, our cricketer, he used to fight with the cameraman. Once he plugged the camera and smashed it. He was so irritated by their constant chasing. Diana was killed because she was chased by a very desperate BBC crew or something. Somebody was chasing and that car met with an accident. Those who are already famous, they want to get away from fame, which is not possible. But it is so intoxicating. Every leader wants his statue to be installed even in his lifetime. The greatest of people who lived, who never bothered about this, they are celebrated thousands of years after they are going away in the physical body also. We celebrate Krishna Janmashtami. Whether Krishna celebrated his birthday during his lifetime, we don't know. Vedavyasa's Jayanti is celebrated as Guru Purnima. But all these people live across generations, across millennia they live. Why do they live? Did they care for any fame? Did they say, The Upanishadic masters put even a signature there that I wrote this Upanishad. Nothing like that. They just live because of the power of the whatever they did. But all of us want something or the other. It could be a small circle. It could be a rotary circle. It could be Calcutta. Some circle where we want to get this fame. So he says, he's in a disguised way, he is seeing his own name. He is seeing his own statue. Stood before his sculptured name. His name is written there. Musing meekly, what is fame? Fame is but a slow decay. That's all. Instead of decaying immediately, you will decay in a 20 years time or a 30 years time. Till such long your hard-earned fame will be there. That's all it is. But eventually it is going to go away. Even this shall pass away. Lastly, death. Struck with palsy, sore and old, waiting at the gates of gold. Said he with his dying breath, life is done, but what is death? Then in answer to the king fell a sunbeam on his ring, showing by a heavenly ray, even this shall pass away. All his experiences have been wonderfully experienced in the lifetime. Now he is just waiting in his deathbed, struck with palsy, paralysis, and he is old, and he is waiting. Now he says, I know everything now, musing meekly, what is death? That is one experience nobody would have experienced at all. So he is musing meekly, what is death? Then an answer came when a sunbeam fell on his ring again, showing by a heavenly ray, even this shall pass away. So what it means is, death is just another experience. Even that is going to go away. Just as we pass from one experience to another in this lifetime, that is one more experience. So that type of objectivity comes where you are able to even see your death as just one more experience. What a state that is. That person may not have even a rebirth if he has lived his life like this. That's all it is. He goes into and merges into the self. So the extremity of the detachment is that I am detached from my own body. In the Gita, chapter 2, it says, Swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahato bayat. Even a slight practice of this dharma will protect you from the greatest fear. So Shankaracharya in his commentary says, what is greatest fear? Greatest fear is the fear of death only. Because ultimately, my attachment to body, and that is going to go away, that is one question mark which will never be answered satisfactorily. That is why all this knowledge is to say that you are not the body, you are the self. And he says, even if you practice this a little, he is talking about Karma Yoga, even if you are practicing this Dharma a little, it will save you from the greatest of fear. That is the power. So objectivity is to distance ourselves from any experience and view it in a totality picture, accepting it as it is, to say that I have nothing to do with this. I am different from all these things. This is objectivity. So you will go through the motions of it. All those things may touch your body or your mind, but it doesn't touch you. So the difference is that there is no affectation inside. That is the difference. You just go through the moments as it comes, but you are not touched by it. This is objectivity. This is precisely what we need to practice. What he says in this verses, Manasi Vichintaya Varam Varam. Varam Varam means again and again. It is just not that one class we heard or once we heard and it has come into our system. It doesn't. Because our attachment to body has been carrying for a long time. So you have to have a consistent thought flow on this. Think about it again and again. Think about it from different angles. Then you will get rooted in this philosophy. We'll continue next class.
So the problem is, we want to distance ourselves. We need to distance ourselves, still caring enough, still affected in the real sense. In this, like you care. Somebody's hurt you.
Correct.
You care as much.
You feel.
But still you are not affected.
Correct. That is the challenge. That is the challenge. So what happens is, see, so how we practice this objectivity, if you want to, from this context, if you want to do it in practical terms, if let us say, you are child is affected, suddenly late in the night some extreme fever or something, you will do everything in your resource to take to a hospital or do this or that, and you go into that desperation because you know it is your child and you need to do it. But that type of a feeling and desperation does not come. Maybe if you see somebody on the road, you may still feel you want to do something, but you are afraid whether there will be a police case or something like that, because that my factor is not coming there. That is the thing. Okay. So instead of negating, saying that I am not this, I am not this, why don't you accept everything as yours? So that person who is a stranger is also me. If that feeling comes, then you will do everything. You will put that same effort and do whatever best you can do. And to say that you will not feel for it as being like a statue, you will feel for it. But only when the objectivity is there, you will not be affected at the action level to have the clarity to know what is to be done at that point of time. See, there was a case where the child got bitten by a snake or something. The mother was too affectionate, no doubt about it. But she was so affected that she also swooned or she fell down. So now the neighbors have to take care of two people. So we are not talking anything ill about the mother's love there, but her too involved and attached to the child was not properly monitored at the critical time where she should have done what ought to be done to that child. That is objectivity. So you need to have that passion, you need to have that feeling,
but the
clarity must be there. And therefore we are saying, do not confine it to your circle alone. You have to expand from that circle. So actually, when we expand the circle, what happens is that the ego is still there, but it is getting diluted. That is objectivity only. So if you are able to feel for your country in the same way as you feel for your family, that is some level of achievement. On a consistent basis. We do feel once in a while, but on a consistent basis. So that is where you slowly grow. Then when you do like that, what happens is that you will still do, but not get affected by what comes out of it or the results of the action. The same thing, it will be there for your family also. Yes.
So in terms of what I'm saying, I'm asking is how not to develop craving. I'm referring to the previous class now. When you said it's fine to have wealth but not to crave for wealth or for any power or anything. How not to crave for something but still have the killer instinct. Killer instinct is something which you use more for sports, not for work and stuff like that. But I'm just trying to connect the two things. How to still not crave but have the killer instinct.
Okay, the thing is, let us only hope that we use the term killer instinct in a positive way, that we want to achieve it.
Yeah.
That is why we explained in detail that craving and other things operate at a mind's level where you are craving for certain, money or power or position, whatever is your selfish needs about it. So you need to pitch up a goal and try to crave for that. When we say try to crave for that, the goal is pitched up at the intellect level. That was the question asked. Can intellect crave? Intellect cannot crave. Intellect will get fixated. When you get fixated, you need to do the karma for it in order to not waver from it. So therefore, when you do that, mind's craving is automatically brought under control. So by not trying to crave, it will not work. It will crave only for more. It will get craving more and more. So therefore, train to keep the mind aloft in higher thoughts and get fixated in it. Try to feel inspired about it, and for which the practical way is to do the karma in the right proper way to achieve it. That will take care of the mind's craving automatically.
But still will it be able to maintain that killer instinct?
Only then you will be able to maintain the killer instinct. Otherwise, the mind gets frittered away and the energy of the mind goes away in it. When you say killer instinct, it is that single pointed focus that gets the power to achieve it. Nothing else will deviate. How Dhruva was having that single pointed focus that my mother said I should meet God and at any cost I will meet God. Like that it is. How that Markandeya had. How Prahalada had. That sort of a fixation will be there. Nothing else in the world will distract you. That is fixation. Yes, sir.
In the example of the chocolate, I'm just wondering, becoming objective. When you become completely objective, do you really enjoy something then in that sense? How do you?
You do enjoy. When Swamiji eats chocolate, it's just not to as a drama he does now. he does enjoy the chocolate very much.
And finishes it.
And yeah, he nicely finishes it. Yeah, it is ice cream or a chocolate. The thing is, the approach is not that he is not having the belief that there is enjoyment in the chocolate and having it. When it comes along the way, when he has a capacity to enjoy, when there is nothing that it is going to be obstacle in whatever the pursuit is, you just do it. That does not mean that everybody should eat a chocolate or something. Somebody may enjoy something else. I'm just saying, whatever be that enjoyment, you are able to go through it. Let us, for argument's sake, I'm saying, a child offers a chocolate innocently to you. Will you not accept it? Will you not enjoy the chocolate for the sake of the child? Even that requires objectivity. But it's not that you put the chocolate in the mouth and after the child goes, you spit it away. It is not like that. You are able to take in it and absorb it completely, for which we are saying that you need objectivity. But the context of the example is, even if you are liking chocolate and you want to eat chocolate properly and enjoy the full satisfaction, you need objectivity. It's not easy to have that in the side and enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah, what I'm trying to just understand, when you become objective, okay, then you tend to sort of I'm not able to find the right word for the lack of.
You are considering all these things as small pleasures.
Sort of a vairagya in a sort of a negative sense, if I may say so.
Then you will not even stay with the family. You will go back off to Himalayas then. Nothing else that you want. Why will you want anything for that matter? Why you only take chocolate for that matter? What is the pleasure of a wife or what is the pleasure of a son or anything for that matter at that point of time? Nothing will be touched. So, all that comes through, I am saying in the practice, you have not reached a state of renunciation. Okay, that is completely a different level altogether. As you are practicing also, I am saying, to the extent, that's why we said being a witness is both practice and a state. If you are able to maintain objectivity in and through action, finally you reach the state of objectivity. So Vairagya is a very, very high state that you are talking about.
I was relating that to the word objective.
It is objective. So practice of objectivity is also there. Even as you, let us say, have a conversation or a meeting, how to practice objectivity there, how to listen to him patiently and not interrupt him. At that point of time, when you are doing this consciously, it is practicing objectivity. So bringing the knowledge with the power of intellect into the action is practicing objectivity at every point of time. So he says, even to eat chocolate, you need that objectivity there.
Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.